What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Formula One Gridlock podcast. My name, of course, is Nathan Charles. I'm always here. And you know who else is here with me? My co-host, Chase Bozung. Chase, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am pretty good. I've got a little something in my throat. I'm doing fine. I'm powering through, but I'm not quite 100%. I'm maybe 87%. I'm 87%. Chase, we don't have a lot of time because we are recording this on a Thursday evening, the Thursday before the Italian or Monza, before the Monza Grand Prix. So we just need to get right into it. The Dutch Grand Prix 2021. First place, Max Verstappen for Red Bull. Second place, Lewis Hamilton, the Mercedes. Third place, Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. Fourth place, Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri. Great result from Pierre there. Fifth place, Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. Sixth place, Fernando Alonso in the Alpine. Another great result for them. Seventh place, Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. Eighth place, Sergio Perez in the Red Bull. Eighth place from the back of the grid. Great drive from Sergio today. Ninth place, Esteban Ocon in the second Alpine. 10th place, the first of the McLarens, Lando Norris. And right behind him in 11th place, his teammate Daniel Ricciardo in the second McLaren. 12th place, Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin, followed by his teammate Sebastian Vettel in 13th in the second Aston Martin. 14th place, another teammate pairing here. 14th, Antonio Giovinazzi. 15th place, his stand-in teammate for Kimi Räikkönen, who of course was out with COVID for this race, Robert Kubica, both in the Alfa Romeos. Then we had the Williams teammates, Nicholas Latifi getting the not really the nudge on George Russell because George Russell did not finish this race along with Yuki Tsunoda and Nikita Mazepin. We've got Nicholas Latifi, George Russell, Mick Schumacher, Yuki, and Nikita at the very back. So, Chase, let's jump right into it. Who?
Uh-huh.
Give me your one-word description.
Landslide. So I chose landslide because it's interesting. You have landslides everywhere in this. You have Max just dominating first place after he
Mm-hmm.
gets it back after passing Bottas. Landslide from there on out.
Yep.
And then the top three. I mean, second place is a landslide from third place. Then third place is a landslide from fourth place. Fourth's not anywhere close. And then like fourth and fifth are kind of close, and then no one else is kind of close. It just kept being a landslide. I mean, like uh Schumacher got lapped 3 times.
Yep. Yeah.
3 times. So yeah.
Yes, Zandvoort is a pretty short track. I mean, I don't know. They had, I think it was 74 laps, which is quite a lot of laps. Normally, we're
Yeah.
closer to the 50 range, and I think we'll have a similar number of laps this weekend in Monza. But you're totally right. Lots of gaps, and really, all you were kind of looking for was somebody to make a mistake, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what was going to shake it up. You know, these guys are obviously very good drivers, and so not really too many of them made a mistake. But I'm sure we'll talk about some of the stuff that happened later. But yeah, lots of big gaps, lots of big gaps.
Yeah.
My one word description, and this is kind of two words, but Max Verstappen. I mean, this was Max's race. This is
Yeah.
what he has been waiting for. This is his home race. This is the Dutch Grand Prix. And Chase, Max needed to win this one.
Yeah,
He needed it.
definitely.
He needed to win this one. If he hadn't won this one, if Lewis had beat him, this is the second race back, right? From the break.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, Max was down.
Yeah.
Um,
He was down because he crashed out in the British Grand Prix, and then what was it, the Hungarian? He
he,
with the Bottas situation.
yep. So he won in Spa, and he has now won. Yeah, because he did not win.
He won Spa because of the rain mishap. Because he qualified first, he won
Yes,
Spa.
yes. We didn't even really do an episode on that because there was really
No,
nothing to
there's
do an
there's
episode on.
nothing to comment. It's
It
I
is
mean,
what it is.
qualifying may be fun to watch, but there's not much to talk about because it's not racing.
Yeah, exactly. exactly. So Lewis had beat him in Britain. Esteban Ocon wins in Hungary, kind of a fluke race,
Yeah.
and then he wins in
Well,
Belgium.
because of the Bottas, he
Yeah,
made it.
yeah. He wins in Belgium, and now he wins in uh, in Zandvoort. He
Mhm.
really needed those.
Mind you, the Spa one is really irrelevant because he got 12 points for that, and Verstappen got 7. So
Yeah,
it that one was just an intermediate. Here's a couple points. But I get what you're saying. He needed this one.
he needed this one because he was definitely down points. He's now back in first in the driver's standings. He's got 224 and a half, followed by Lewis, down only 3 points. Lewis currently has 221 and a half, followed, of course, by Valtteri Bottas, all the way down at 123. So not even really close, but those two are neck and neck. Max needs to win these races, and he
He needs to.
absolutely came out and did that. There was never a moment there was a couple moments. I won't lie. But as like you kind of said, as soon as he got around Valtteri Bottas,
Yeah.
the kind of obviously Valtteri was slowing Max down. Valtteri hadn't pitted. Max had already pitted, and so had Lewis. Lewis was chasing Max. And Valtteri was holding Max up so that Lewis could catch up. But Max gets around Valtteri and he says,
Takes off.
"See you later. I'm winning this race." And he does. And yeah, it was never close after that. I think he kept
Yeah.
about a 3 second lead um, pretty evenly. And I think
No, he had more than that at the end.
well, he did because Lewis pitted to try to get the fastest lap.
Yeah.
Um, but that's beside the point. This was a dominant performance from Max Verstappen, and he
Yeah.
needs this, and he needs wins like this week in and week out. So I just have to give him mad props. Let's talk drivers then, Chase, since we're already kind of
Yeah.
talking about it. Who
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
driver of the day?
I chose, Perez because, obvious choice. I wanted to choose Max, but I'm kind of holding myself back from that because I know Max is going to win a lot of races for a couple years now. So I don't want to look back and be like, "Oh yeah, I chose Max 12 times last year and then 13 times."
I
So
understand.
I like to mix it up. And I chose Perez because of what he did. I was going to choose some others, but then halfway through the race they kind of stopped performing as well, and I was a little disappointed by that. But yeah. Yeah.
I understand. It was a great race from Sergio. If
Oh
he
yeah.
had, I think he would be an instant pick for me if he had gotten maybe closer to fifth or sixth.
Yeah.
Um, but 8 points. Red Bull wants to do the double this year. They want Max to win the drivers and they want to win the constructors.
Yeah.
And granted, starting from the I don't necessarily think it was all his fault.
Yeah.
Sergio's fault. I think they changed some engine parts out on him because he crashed, and so instead of starting at the in last, maybe giving him a chance to he's in a fast car. You get some more time. You're closer to the pack. He has to start
Yeah.
from the pit lane, so he's already got this nice there's literally a 20-second gap
Yeah.
because he has to exit the pit lane and then
Yeah.
follow the guys.
And
And those
then
cars
speed up. And
exactly.
you have a bad line because you're coming out of the pit lane. You don't have the racing line,
hmm
you know.
And these guys are taking off quick, and you have to. I think he literally has to wait until the last car gets
Yeah.
past the pit lane.
Yep. And then Latifi was in front of him.
Yeah.
So he has to wait for Latifi to do it all.
Yep.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. But in a sport where you're fighting for milliseconds, passing's not terribly common in the sense of like you have to gain seconds over an hour long thing, and the other
hmm
racers have to lose seconds. What sold it for me is not necessarily, well, it was, but the whole ordeal of him passing the McLarens. He rolls up to Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel's fighting for it. He passes Daniel like butter. Within 4 laps, he closes the gap between him and Norris, and then
hmm
passes Norris like butter. I mean, it
hmm
was, well, Norris Norris turned it into a little aggressive, but he was passing Norris like butter, and then Norris was like, "I'm gonna push you wide,
Yeah. Yeah.
super aggressively for no reason."
They got the elbows out. They got the elbows out for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what sold it for me. He just walked over two McLarens, and yeah, he does have a better car. Uh, but I'm not certain he's a better racer than Norris, and the McLaren's not a bad car. So to just kind of walk over them,
Well, I've said it before, and I'm sure I'll say it again. But like, I think even the commentators, when the race started, this is what Sergio Perez does.
yeah,
Like this, we have seen him do this. He just finds a way. Not many racers. There's probably a handful of guys on the grid currently that even if they find themselves in a crappy position in the back, they just find a way.
yeah. I can
And
think of three.
yeah, I mean, Sergio comes to mind immediately. I've seen Lewis
Yep,
Hamilton do it a lot.
Hamilton and Verstappen.
Although, okay, I tend to think it's I see it more Pierre Gasly doing it. I don't see a ton of Max. Uh, Number one, I don't see Max in a lot of bad positions, which is
Well,
great.
that's what I'm saying because I think Max can do it. You just don't see him there. He's either out of the race or he's at the front.
See, yeah, exactly. That's I'm not talking about that though. I'm talking about guys who find themselves maybe they have something crappy happens with a tire or they crash in quality and so they have to be at the back. I see a guy like Pierre Gasly having good races, being able to use his car. He's using his car. He's faster than the cars that are like scientifically slower than him, and he's finding a way to
Yep.
get around them. But let's move on.
Yeah.
Actually, well, we don't even have to move on because my driver of the day was Pierre Gasly. I think
Yeah.
this was a great drive from him. I
Mm-hmm.
think because he qualified in
Fifth.
fourth and he
Oh, fourth.
ended the race in fourth. And for AlphaTauri, because arguably he's got let's see, he's got two Ferraris behind him. In my opinion, those Ferraris are faster than AlphaTauri. He's
Agreed.
got both McLarens behind him. I think both of those McLarens are faster than his AlphaTauri.
Easily.
And he has still has Sergio Perez behind him, which that Red Bull is quite a bit faster than the AlphaTauri. So to
Yeah.
be able to not only keep those two Ferraris at bay, but just to stay in fourth place,
Mm-hmm.
I think he has to be over the moon at that, and I think AlphaTauri has to be over the moon at that.
Well,
Don't you
and
think?
to add on to that, qualifying in fourth and staying in fourth, what better can you ask for when Max Verstappen is in the race and then there's two Mercedes? You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
What better can you ask for?
Yeah, I mean, like the only thing better is like fifth because Sergio Perez makes his way up in there, and
Yeah,
he
exactly.
and that didn't happen, and so Pierre got fourth. I think this is really, really, really good drive from Pierre.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift and talk bigger picture. Let's talk team of the day. Chase, go ahead because I think we have kind of a similar idea here.
Yeah, it's Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ferrari. And even though they got beat by an AlphaTauri, which is a little Akko Taco for them, uh that they beat two McLarens, they beat a Red Bull. We know their car's not phenomenal. We know this. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that good.
Nope.
I think they put it in a perfect place for what the car had. They had a good strategy. I think for most of the race they were pretty much neck and neck. Both of their races were pretty much on each other.
Yeah, they were.
So they could use a lot more strategy than I'll defend this person, you push ahead, blah blah blah.
Yep.
So yeah, I think they did a perfect job for the situation they were given.
I absolutely agree. We both kind of have it written down here. Ferrari, they qualified together. They qualified fifth, sixth. They finished the race fifth, seventh. I
Mm-hmm.
think Ferrari has to if Ferrari could get this exact result week in and week out, I think they'd be really happy.
Oh yeah,
I think they would be. So Ferrari for me is the clear um, is the clear choice here.
I agree.
Let's talk. Let's talk bad, Chase. Let's talk about bad stuff now. I don't want to talk about bad stuff, but we have to talk about bad stuff. Worst
Yeah.
of the weekend, Chase. Go.
Well, thankfully nothing was like, oh my goodness, yeah, I can't believe you've done this. Nothing was like out of this world, except for before the race, which and it's not. I hate to say it's not their fault because it is their fault, but it's not malicious, right? Going back to what we said about Max Verstappen, Hamilton crashing in Britain, it's not malicious. But Haas just decimating my man Vettel at the beginning of the weekend, or well, beginning of the big part of the weekend, just ruining his lap time, making him qualified like 17th place, ruining his chances for the race. That was painful to watch. Oh, that was painful.
Not great. Not great on Haas. I tweeted earlier. I actually tweeted from our Formula One account, which let me pull up that. I had it up and then I forgot. But we're tweeting now. We are on Twitter. F1 Gridlock Pod. Give us a follow. Give us a shout out. I will be tweeting from there. But I tweeted because I was seeing some stuff about Haas and kind of just like the way teams are run. I tweeted if Haas ever wants to compete, like legitimately compete, and I was thinking the way that Zach Brown came in and shook up McLaren,
Mm-hmm.
a guy a guy like Gunter Steiner just has to go.
I agree.
Am I off the goop on that one?
No, and this is the opinion that me and my mom share when watching like the F1 uh
Like Drive to Survive?
Netflix show,
Yeah,
Drive to Survive. He's I'm not going to say he's a bad leader. He does it in an interesting way where it's all negative, it's all aggressive, it's all blah blah blah. And then like if you flip it over to someone good like Christian Horner, he's not that negative towards his own team. He's not like who did this, I need to punish you. And I'm not saying Guter is either, but it's positive influence versus negative influence. And I
yeah,
think it
absolutely,
stems.
absolutely. Granted, a show like that is very dramatized, so I'm sure
I
you're
agree.
seeing
I
all the
agree.
bad and none of the good. But the bad is pretty bad.
That's what I'm saying.
It's pretty bad. I take everything I see on that show. I do love the show. It's a great show, and
Hmm.
I mean it really got me to pay attention. So
Yeah.
I think the show is good for what it is. But you have to take everything with the context of this is over traumatized
Yeah, I
for the
agree.
sake of dramatization. So all right, for me, the worst of the weekend. I just feel like Valtteri Bottas not only has some news later, which we will talk about, but
Yeah.
he seemed to just get beat up this weekend. I really felt bad for him. So obviously he has to, kind of basically accept defeat. And really early on, basically, they tell him,
Hmm.
"You're gonna be look. We don't care about you. Just hold up Max Verstappen." And basically, because of this, because he's on these tires for so long, he then spins out and
Uh-huh.
almost crashes into, or no, Vettel
Vettel
spins
spins
out
out. He almost crashes into
and
Vettel.
Bottas almost just T-bones him, which could have been awful.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. I felt Valtteri Bottas just seemingly, not only in this race, but just in this week, has taken a few punches to the gut. So
Well,
for that reason.
I agree, but there is one positive, and I loved this. They tell him not to go for fastest lap, and he's just
Oh
like,
yes.
"Nah, fam." That's that
uh,
made that made me feel amazing. I was like, "Yes, finally, screw over Hamilton."
yeah. I think what actually happened there is he was on softs because they pitted him and put him on softs, and then he did two purple sectors, and then they told he was in the third. He was in like the middle of the third sector, and they
Hmm.
told him to slow down, and he just like didn't slow down enough. I guess he did like the commentators were saying like he did slow down, but he didn't slow down enough, and I just found that really really funny.
Yeah,
So
I enjoyed that.
that was funny. All right, Chase, we got to get to the big news. We got to get to the thing that everybody wants to hear about, and that's of course the driver market. It's starting already. It's
Oh yeah.
starting already.
Well, you
We've
mean it's
got
almost over? I mean,
yeah, geez, yeah, you're right.
there's what, one spot left, I think, and it's AlphaTauri now.
No, both of the guys at AlphaTauri are confirmed for next season.
Alfa Romeo, sorry,
Oh,
Alfa
Alfa
Romeo.
Romeo, you're right.
Yep,
Yeah.
there's one
Okay.
spot because I think Williams re-signed Latifi. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead, but
No, you're right. Okay. So we had Kimi Räikkönen retiring. We have
sad. Hate to see it.
we have George Russell to Mercedes,
Love to
and
see it.
love to see it. And of course, that means uh no, no, because Bottas is now going to Alfa Romeo,
Mm-hmm.
and um Alex Albon coming back to
Love it.
Williams,
Woo.
which we love that one too.
Love it.
So, um, Kimi Räikkönen retiring. I know he's had a long career. I don't have a ton to say about it because I think generally Kimi speaks for himself.
Yeah.
But I obviously will miss him. I love when there's kind of like a guy who I love it in sports when there's like a guy who doesn't like play by the normal rules.
Yeah.
And Kimi Räikkönen is definitely one of those guys. I think one of my favorite like old Formula One clips is a clip from I'm not even sure what year it is, but it's earlier in or like kind of in the middle of his career when he was racing with Ferrari,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in uh I mean it's in the big one. It's in Monaco. He
Yeah.
crashes, and instead of sticking with his car and going back to the pit lane, he
Yeah.
just walks off the track and goes and hangs out with his friends on his yacht.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite like sports clips of all time, and I think that that clip just really epitomizes Kimi Räikkönen. So we will miss
Oh yeah.
him, and we will miss his presence greatly.
Yeah, I miss him because he just kind of has that I don't care attitude. But what I personally love about him, he wins a championship. Maybe for a couple years tries to win some more, but can't. He says, "Now I don't want to retire and keep really good like statistics, like matches won versus entered. I don't want to do that. I'm just gonna race because I want to race. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna stick around for the next, you know, almost 10 years plus, you know,
just
and
because
just
he's
race
just doing it.
and just do it. That's what I love about it."
Yeah, we will definitely miss him. All right, let's get to the big one. Valtteri Bottas going to Alfa Romeo, taking Kimi's place, and George Russell getting the call. Bring, bring. Yeah, George, time to hop in the mark. Time to get in. It's time to go, boy. What do you think? I mean, I also tweeted this out. Follow us from at Formula One Gridlock Pod. I think George Russell is going to give Lewis Hamilton a better fight than he's probably ever had, and I know that Nico Rosberg beat him in 2013. I think George Russell could literally be challenging Max and Lewis next season. I literally think that.
I So I can agree with the challenging Max and Hamilton. I don't know if I can get behind them that ever had. The fight between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton in 2016 was
Was
a
it
dog
16? Was it
fight.
16
It
or
was
was it 13?
2016, yeah.
Okay, my bad. I got the dates mixed up.
What'd you say, 2013?
I thought
2013.
2013. I thought it was
Yeah, 2013's
farther.
Vettel's
My bad.
streak.
You're right.
But
Wow.
yeah, in 2016, it was a dogfight, and we
Yeah.
all know what happened. I think it was on the Japanese Grand Prix, uh, when they both crash into each other. One of them, I think, one goes wide. Hamilton goes into the grass wide or something, and Rosberg's going to the left, and then they crash into each other, and everyone's heated.
Yeah.
Uh,
Dog fight.
yeah. So I don't know if I can get behind the better than he's ever had, at least not for a couple years, but I it's almost a mistake on Mercedes' part. And I say that wanting uh Russell there and arguing for the past months
Yeah.
that he should be and that Bottas shouldn't be. But from a like logical standpoint, they're putting one of the best drivers in the grid, which I'm fully behind, uh in a Mercedes against their golden boy.
Yeah.
And it's just Well, I don't know, because Bottas is the safe choice. Even if they don't tell Bottas, hey, let Hamilton pass, Hamilton's going to pass Bottas. It's
Yep.
just, he's not going to have a fight. I mean, if they're going for Constructors' Championships, oh, yeah. With Russell and Hamilton, they're going to dominate. And that's saying something because they dominated with Bottas. But if they're going for drivers for Hamilton, oof.
Gonna be good.
Yeah,
Gonna be good. I'm already excited for next year. And this year's not even
same.
over. And this has
Yeah,
been a great year so far.
yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the redemption arc that is Alex Albon. We really
Oh
didn't get
my.
to talk that much about Alex Albon because as soon as we started the podcast, we kind of started it this year and he
Yep.
was, kind of already out. So I'm excited to talk about Alex. I think, and I also tweeted this out at Formula One Gridlock at F1 Gridlock Pod on Twitter. Give us a follow. Um, that Alex Albon got absolutely shafted at Red Bull in retrospect.
Yeah.
To honestly believe that a driver as young as he was could come in on a top team with no experience. He had about half a season at Toro Rosso. To honestly believe he could come in and perform at the level even close to a guy like Max Verstappen is ridiculous. And I felt he
Agreed.
was incredibly hard done. He needed They really should have just kept Pierre in the seat and allowed him to find his own footing. I think he's already found it at AlphaTauri. I think even a fourth place finish like this weekend shows that. And I think Alex should have stayed at Toro Rosso, now AlphaTauri.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of ridiculous what they did to what they did. They massacred my boy. Um, Albon's not really I like Albon, but and I think Williams is the perfect move for him. I really do. What do you think?
I think the original perfect move is AlphaTauri. I think that's the original perfect move. But I love to see him back. Like you said, like I understand what Red Bull was doing, but Alex had spent half a year in F1. Half a year. Then they said, okay, this other kid's not performing. Your turn. Step into the second best car on the grid and place in the top five consistently. Thanks. And then that's his whole F1 career is that saga. And then he doesn't perform well, so they say, okay, bye, and then he gets picked up by no one else. I hated to see it. Uh with Pierre, he at least got to stay in the sport and is now proving that he should stay in the sport. Uh, but yeah, I love to see him back. I think Williams is a great move because
Mm-hmm.
he needs more experience. His experience was AlphaTauri for half a year and then doing stuff he shouldn't for the next year and a half or year. I don't know how long he spent. I know he spent 2 seasons.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah,
he had a full year and then half a season.
yeah. I think he needs more time before he justifies that he should be in a uh mid pack car. I don't know if that's uh AlphaTauri in a bit or not. We'll see.
Yeah, tough to see. Yeah, I mean the thing that plagued him, I think he's a quick driver. The thing that plagued him was inconsistency. It's the same thing that hurt Pierre.
Yeah.
It's these young guys, these not every young driver is going to be Max Verstappen. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and we
Well,
kind of
Max
had this
wasn't even
conversation.
terribly consistent before. He was just
No,
good.
but he found his footing really quickly.
Yeah.
And Red Bull kind of expects these other guys to do the same. It's that whole mentality of if they're good enough, they'll swim. They kind of went over that or they kind of talked about that or touched on that in the Drive to Survive series,
Yeah.
where that was kind of Red Bull's mentality,
Yeah.
or at least seemingly their mentality of if they're good enough, they'll figure it out. But I think a guy like Pierre Gasly shows that maybe that's not the right approach for this.
Yeah. I think Yeah, he's terribly. He wasn't consistent because he's a rookie. Uh, in the second best car in the grid, and then he's got Red Bull beating down his neck, saying, "Hey, perform well or bye bye." Every race.
Yeah, it seemed
He
like it.
he had like no stress free weekend when he was racing with them.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Excuse me. I wanted to touch on one last thing. This will be kind of a shorter episode, just because we need to go. We need to get it out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about power rankings, Chase. I really like these power
Oh
rankings.
no.
They come out after every race, and I think they're fun. So, Chase,
Uh huh.
I want to see if you can guess the top five of who
After
are
this,
after the Dutch Grand Prix.
oh, it's Pierre Gasly, number one. Max number two, Perez number three, Hamilton number four, Leclerc number five.
Okay, you got most of them actually.
Yeah, I'm goaded, dude. Let's go.
Number one, Max Verstappen.
Close.
Took pole, killed it,
Mm-hmm.
clear a 10 out of 10 score for Max Verstappen. Number two, Pierre Gasly.
Mm-hmm.
Qualified P4, finished P4, got a score of 9.5. Third place, the championship runner-up currently, Lewis Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Number four, this is an interesting one, Fernando Alonso. They gave him an 8.8, and I think that's due to the fact that he qualified in ninth and finished the race in sixth, which is pretty darn good. He split the Ferraris. That's a
Yeah.
pretty great race.
Yeah, that's a good race by him.
And fifth place, you hit it right on the head, was Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
8.5.
What I said, mind you, isn't what I believe, but that's what I figured they'd go with.
Okay. Well, I mean, hit me with what you believe then, my dude.
What I
This is
believe,
the place for hot takes.
it's gonna be boring, but what I believe is Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris, Perez. Let's see.
You still got Norris up there. He hasn't had. I know he's our guy. I love him too, but these
Well,
last
maybe
few races
if we're
have
going
been
off of this race,
kind of middling.
that's not it. My power rankings, just in general, that's it.
Oh, okay. No,
For
I'm talking.
this, for
These are
this
live,
race,
baby.
yeah. If we're going this race, Verstappen, Gasly, Hamilton, Leclerc, Perez. No, Perez in front of Leclerc.
Okay, so you have the same top three, and then you throw in Perez.
Yeah, and I switched my top three around a little bit.
No, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't, because
Was Hamilton three?
Yeah, Hamilton was third. It
Oh,
goes
that's my bad. That's my
one
bad.
Max,
Yeah.
two Pierre, three Lewis,
Yeah.
and then Fernando Alonso, and you had Sergio Perez there.
Yeah.
Sergio Perez is not in the top 10,
Yeah,
which is kind of weird
it's absurd because
for as good of a race as we both believe he had.
well, and it's not that he passed the whole mid pack; it's that he passed two McLarens that were in the mid pack,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, him passing those McLarens was big.
Well, and you think like even in a poor weekend, Norris is going to be an easy pass? The answer is no. He's not going to be an easy pass, and
No.
Perez made him an easy pass.
Yeah, Lando Norris is. I mean, he's not solidly, but Lando Norris is in fourth right now for the driver's standings. He's right in front of Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
Like Lando Norris has been very consistent this year, so he's not an easy pass. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Chase. Well, why don't we wrap it up there?
Yeah.
Excited for this weekend. We've got Monza this weekend. Give me your 1, 2, 3.
Monza 1, 2, 3. All right. Hot take time. Leclerc.
Ooh, okay.
Leclerc. Let's see. Leclerc, Verstappen, Vettel.
Vettel.
Mm-hmm. He's had some hot races this season, and I mean he's got a crap ton of experience. Monza's a fast one, got some tough corners. I think he could pull it off. Just Gets a good qualifying and carries it.
Okay. Okay. I like your Ferrari pick, but I don't like your driver.
Ooh, that's fair.
I think that Carlos Sainz is going to have his breakout race. I think he's going to outqualify his teammate. I think he might even outqualify Sergio Perez because I don't think Sergio Perez is going to have a great race. This track, Sergio likes the tracks that he can kind of out, you know, out turn, get around a
Yeah.
guy. This track is all about speed. It's the temple of speed. And
Yep.
Carlos Sainz loves to go fast. He's the chili pepper.
That's
Carlos
true.
Sainz, I actually don't even have him winning. But I've got Max Verstappen 1. I think Max is going to continue this dominant run of form. I think Carlos Sainz is going to get up into second. And I don't think Lewis is going to get top 3. I think somebody, I don't know,
Hopefully he
maybe
doesn't.
Pierre Gasly continues his form. Pierre has great luck in Monza, and I think we might see him get third. I think it's going to be a interesting race. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, if either of our predictions are close, that's a good race.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Chase. Well, it was excellent talking with you, of course.